Today you're going to be watching the reenactment of the court case Mapp versus Ohio, created by Andrew Reineman, Eric Brookshin, and Dakota Robb. Did you turn it back at yourself?
Hi, is this Miss Mapp's house?
Yes, it is.
We'd like to search your house for a bombing suspect.
I'm sorry, you may not come in the house.
Why not?
No reason, just don't want you to. You can have a warrant if you want to come in the house.
Can't search it?
Nope.
Alright, we'll be back.
See you later.
Hey, let's search your house.
You have no right! No right! This is ridiculous!
Well, I didn't find a bombing suspect, but I found this porn and this drug paraphernalia. She's gonna go to jail for a long time.
Oops. On May 23rd, 1957, police officers in Cleveland, Ohio suburb received information that a bombing suspect would be found at the home of Dorlee Mapp. 3 officers went to the home of Dorlee Mapp and asked permission to enter, but Mapp refused to admit them without a search warrant. The 2 officers left and 1 remained. 3 hours later, the 2 returned with several other officers, confronting her with a piece of paper claiming was the search warrant. They broke in the door. Mapp asked to see the search warrant, and she took it from her from the officer, as you saw in the play. Putting it down her dress, the officer struggled with Mapp and took back the piece of paper, grabbing it from her dress, and then they handcuffed her for being belligerent. And then, as the police officers searched Mapp's house, they found paraphernalia and pornographic magazines, which at the time in the 1960s were illegal, and the bombing suspect that the police officers were looking for, they did not find. Dorlee Mapp was arrested for illegal pornographic magazines and drug paraphernalia. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court at the time was Earl Warren. The Warren Court's revolution in the criminal justice system began with the case Mapp versus Ohio, the first of many significant cases in which it re-evaluated the role of the 14th Amendment as it appealed to state judicial systems and re-evaluated on how we look at the 4th Amendment.
The 4th Amendment talks about illegal search and seizure, just like our video showed you. And the 14th Amendment talks about how rights of a basic citizen cannot be denied and how all federal laws must be followed by all of the states. When Dorlee Mapp was taken to courts in the state of Ohio, she lost her case because there was no search warrant presented and she didn't have any evidence to fight back against them. But her and her lawyer decided to go to the Supreme Court under the Warren courts to appeal this case. When she was at the Supreme Court, she argued that since there was no search warrant presented, that the police had acted improperly while searching her house. Therefore, any incriminating evidence found during the search should therefore be thrown out of her court and her conviction overturned. However, the state of Ohio argued that the 14th Amendment does not guarantee Fourth Amendment protection in the state courts.
Moving on, the exclusionary rule was a principle set in place by this case. The exclusionary rule is the principle based on federal constitutional law that evidence illegally seized by law enforcement officers in violation of a suspect's right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures cannot be used against the suspect in a criminal prosecution. This principle was put into place by a couple of key cases throughout history. The first one is Weeks versus United States in 1914, and that case ruled unanimously that warrantless seizure of items from a private residence constitutes a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Then the next case that set this into place would be Wolf versus Colorado, and that occurred in 1949. And this case ruled that the 14th Amendment does not require that evidence obtained in violation of the Fourth Amendment should be excluded from use by the states in criminal prosecutions. Mapp versus Ohio then overturned Wolf versus Colorado, and Mapp versus Ohio ruled that the states did have to follow the Fourth Amendment rule on search and seizure.
The importance of this case is that it brought out the rights and the overall aspect of these amendments. These amendments were the Fourth Amendment, which showed how much the illegal search and seizure mattered in our country. The 14th Amendment, which showed that the states had to follow the federal law, and the exclusionary rule, which just is a big part in this case. The exclusionary rule proved that any illegal evidence that was obtained in the search cannot be used in the federal court case. This is also significant because imagine if you were the person that was getting your house searched and the police just bunched in and went through your things, went through your drawers, your underwear drawer for Pete's sake, and they wanted to find something and you didn't want them to. Would you want them just take your stuff and present it in a court case? I don't think so. So that's part of the significance in that. That's why it's an important case. To conclude, the court case Mapp versus Ohio showed significance because of the Fourth Amendment and illegal search and seizure. This case was not ruled in favor of Mapp in the states. However, when appealed, the evidence was thrown out and Mapp's convictions ended. This case also brought light to the 14th Amendment and the Exclusionary Act. Also, it relates to today and the basic rights of citizens. We hope you enjoyed our video and learned a lot about this case.